Yeah, I'm super excited for today's stream, actually, because this is something that I originally wanted to talk about. Yes, last week, believe it or not, but I couldn't get around to it because last week's topic was so huge. I actually had a script for it, and literally, I only had about half. I only got about half of what I wanted to talk about. That's how much I had to say about the point where. And we're still not done. We have a lot to talk about, and hopefully this series is going to tie in everything, like I mentioned last time, but more importantly, it's also going to set up things because now we could start talking about strategy, which is something that my mid-level players really need to kick it up to the next level. So it's really cool. So for those of you that don't know, if you can't tell from the title, today's topic is going to be about how to choose the point for your team. And we're going to talk about a lot of different configurations for points, how to take advantage of a point, what a point is for. We'll go through a reminder and whatnot. I think it's going to be really cool. But yeah. All right, so before we begin, do you guys have any questions, anything you want to know? All right. It seems like you guys are good to go. All right. So, first things first. The biggest thing that I want to talk about right off the bat is in order to understand, before we even talk about anything, we want to talk about the meta. So, on my screen right now, on the left side, we have 3 points that were basically the points that kind of ran their season. So, season 1 and season 1 had Cell and Bardock. They kind of ran because Cell got fuzzied, but Cell was a really powerful point, and every season's point is actually going to determine how that meta is going to turn out, which is why season 2 had Bardock, and season 2 would eventually have Team Gohan, and we will talk about Team Gohan, but I want to talk about the 3 quintessential points basically across all 3 seasons, because we need to talk about how these characters perform. And more importantly, we're going to talk about how to strategize with these characters and observe what these characters actually have in common. Because that is going to be super important. Thank you so much for the follow, Kazam. Really appreciate it. Hope you enjoy the content. If you're interested in supporting the stream, please go ahead and consider subscribing so you get access to the Discord. So that way you can talk to me and my co-host Star personally, and we can help you on a one-on-one basis. But this is actually going to be really interesting. Because what we want to determine is what do these characters have in common, what makes them such strong points, and go over some examples of different teams that I've seen use these points, and what's really good about them. So on the left team, we're going to go ahead and select my main team, actually. All right, chat, you know what to do. What stage are we on for this one? I'll let you guys choose. Cavern, okay. Hi, Wise Boy, nice to see you. Cavern, 2 caverns. Okay, islands, I want relaxation. I love me some islands. Okay. Shit, we're 2 for 2. We need a tiebreaker. And you know what? If you guys don't mind the music, I'll have some Dragon Ball Lo-Fi going on in the background. Maybe. Or not, I don't know. Whatever Streamlabs decides. World tourney stage. I'll go for Islands. Islands is going to win. Pain. So, we're labbing on Islands today. Alright. So. Now we're going to talk about some misconceptions about what makes a good point. And what is important for a point. Number 1, the biggest misconception that I see about people complaining about points is, do they have good round starts? Round starts don't actually matter. Shocker. Now, you might be wondering a little bit controversially, well, why are you saying that, round starts don't matter? It's really cool that a character can do like this, plus a beam, well, maybe a better beam. You know, like round start plus round start lariat that they could take control, immediately take control, catch different things. You know, some characters can just press like a button and immediately go forward. The reason why is because round start strategy looks very different at high level. You actually don't see a lot of opening challenges for a couple of reasons. One is that doing this is not a great way to maximize your efficiency because, you know, especially in the case of Bardock and whatever, like, your characters can literally just that. ID back, they can build some counterplay to it, and most people jump on top of that, so you'd be wasting an assist with no coverage. You're trying to keep yourself safe, but nothing really works. Nothing goes out of T. You are not subscribed. That is disappointing. T and Crash, you guys are letting me down today, man. I am so sad. No, I'm kidding. Point being, I am a child. That is true. You are a child. But you are also a great Dragon Ball player, so I will allow it. But, point is, round starts, not really that important. A great example of a point with poor round starts, Kefla. But that doesn't mean she's not a great point. The next one is Anti-Reflex. So the reason why I don't care about Anti-Reflex, to be honest, is because Anti-Reflex are not really that big of a deal, especially with what you guys have been learning here, because, like, cool, you know? Cool, that's neat, right? But what if I just... that? That's why anti-reflex are really not important. And in the case of Goku and whatnot, thank you so much for the gifted sub, Ketara. That's really nice of you. Wow. You didn't have to do that, but T. It seems like you're making a great impression here, man. We like you. Good shit. But yeah, so this doesn't matter. Because, you know, as nice as that is. And the reason why it doesn't matter is because, honestly, stagger pressure will take care of a lot for you. You shouldn't be reflecting very liberally anyway at high level. If you reflect at high level, that you're kind of taking a huge risk. So I would be careful, especially against an opponent who staggers a lot. So those two things don't really determine what a good point is. So with that out of the way, what do these 3 points have in common? One of the things that I think is actually critical for a point is high mobility. Now, what do I mean by mobility? Well, the ability to traverse space, especially a large distance of space, very quickly. That's really cool. You know? This, really good way to traverse space. That is really important, especially if they can do it in the air. That's also important, because it frees up assist utilization. So you could do stuff like... Oops, messed up. You know, stuff like that. Stuff like that. And you can win in neutral like this. So, if you have good movement, you know, like let's say you're moving around, you're dash blocking, not only is your universal movement going to be a lot stronger, but you're also a lot more of a threat, because at any point you can just, you know, you could easily just, well, maybe with better assists. You know? Didn't really pick out a team for this assist. This is the demonstrative purposes. But you get the point. Point is, boom. Very mobile, very good movement, very hard to catch, especially. Another thing that's important, the ability to contest Zone 2. So, aside from high mobility is going to win you a lot of stuff. These characters are all highly mobile. Especially Bardock, who has an amazing anti-air, which not a lot of characters can. Not a lot of characters actually cover that angle by themselves, so that's great. Of course, you also have, you know, that's really strong as well. And Cell, you might be wondering, well, Cell doesn't have a lot of mobility. Yes, he does. And Cell has a couple of additions to that. Because he has excellent air normals. This is an amazing button. So this is an amazing, amazing button. And one of the great ways you could tell how good Cell's buttons are is the fact that his automatically, like, he can cross up and automatically space himself out for another cross up. It's kind of crazy. You can cross up point blank on most characters. Oops. And then easily, if you wanted to, boom, cross up again. You see Fenrich do this a lot. And it's actually very hard to block. So his air buttons are fantastic, which means that his air-to-airs are impeccable. He's very hard to challenge in the air. On top of, you know, having that. We don't talk about that. But aside from that, he can also do this with a really, really far range assist, like a beam, or if he has like SSJ Vegeta. So doing this, really, really, really powerful way to clinch in, which is really, really, really powerful. Ah, Goro's not a subscriber. You guys, because you guys are in my Discord. That's not good. Point being, Cell is also highly mobile. And what he lacks in mobility, he does make up for in being very difficult to approach and having massive buttons to contest the mid-range as well. So something like that, like not a lot of characters can actually challenge from this range right here. He has kind of terrible space control, to be honest. Like, this is not that great, especially because it's so slow. But at any point, he could just do that. So he's got the ability to move forward decently well. He does so probably not as strong as the other two, but he does have excellent mobility. If we look at my other point, for example, so if we look at my other team here, Blue Goku. Blue Goku has excellent mobility as well. He's got really good shoulders that deflect ki blasts. More importantly, even without his lariats, he has a great dive kick. Now you might be wondering, what's the point of a dive kick? Isn't dive kicks 2H'able? Yep. That's what makes this team kind of fucked up. Because I know the angle of the dive. Do you know the angle of the dive? So what happens if I do this? Or even better, this. Oh, come on. There we go. It leads to a mix-up. Oh, you tried to 2H. You 2H nothing. And now you got counter hit. Now I can do whatever I want to you. Not only that, but Blue Goku has air mobility as well. Something a lot of points have in common. Alright, you can stay. You can stay, bro. You didn't have to do that. So that's excellent air mobility. Now, Kefla has a very different example of this. You see, Kefla has the ability to move forward. Her 5M travels. This is a very strong lariat, because unlike most lariats, she can get hit out of it, but it hits low, which is quite surprising. And then, if she dashes forward, she can actually make him go full screen. If she installs him with dash momentum, which she could do like this. So right here, I'm actually buffering the dash right as I press JM. And then you can... Oops. There you go. And unlike the other points, which is very, very important, even though she could get hit out of it, she does have a very, 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 very important... Actually, 214S is not very good. I would not recommend ever using that in neutral. That is death in neutral. Unless you have, like, barrier, but even then, it's hella risky. There's a reason you don't really see it that much at high level. Even then, what's really cool about this is that she actually has the ability to solo confirm off her lariats. Anywhere on the screen, specifically 214H. That also confirms mid-screen. Oops. Which is actually a very privileged thing to do, in addition to the fact that it does a lot of damage. She also has this, which can travel forward if she wants it to, and it also is projectile guard point, at frame 4, which means that you can fire Ki Blasts at her, and you can't really interrupt it. This is actually a pretty decent mobility when you're a pretty decent move, especially against like mid-range characters where they're like, okay, they have they're Ki Blasting you like Z-Broly or Frieza or Baby even. Like this plus an assist is actually not bad. You know, you can call an assist ahead of time as well. Not only that, but she also has great Ki Blasts. But that's we'll talk about Ki Blasts in a bit. But Kefla has really, really excellent mobility. She does have Zoom Zoom, which is really cool. But I prefer Zoom Zoom as an escape more than anything. Because if you don't have barrier, Zoom Zoom's kind of risky. However, Zoom Zoom does have its applications. Zoom Zoom being specifically getting out of the corner. Like if your opponent's trying to chase you, you just up tech, double jump, I'm out. You could do stuff like that. But Kefla does have a problem. She doesn't have very good air mobility. This is not very good. It's a very steep angle. It's not like Team Gohan's. She makes up for it by it being 11 frames, which is extremely fast. It means like cross-ups like this are possible. However, she does have this, which is a monstrous air button. It's one of the best jams in the game. She also has this, which is monstrous, and this, which is perfect for sniping super dash and air-to-airs. So if your opponent's moving around, she can easily just Rising JL, and she will catch a fuck ton. These are all things that characters... So these are all things that every point has that I've noticed across most teams. You want a point character with strong mobility on top of having good universal movement. So obviously you want to move well. You never want to rely on her gimmicks, but having them is very popular, or having very, very good. Because now instead of doing this, I can usually go, oops. You know, I could just go, no, hey, and then convert like that. Which is really, really good, because normally I would do this. But it's hard to tell what side I'm even going to end up on, usually, you know. If they're covering, if they're holding their distance, you know, this is pretty nice. Especially if you call an assist to convert on hit. You know, stuff like that. So on, so on, so on. So that's actually really, 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 really strong. The next thing that every point has in common, not every point, but good frame data is very, very important when you're on point. And the reason why is because you're in a position to spend the most resources. Assists and bar are a resource. The game plan of a point is typically to develop your other characters. Your goal is not to win. Your goal is not to punch your opponent in the face, although they kind of go hand in hand. But your real goal is to make sure that your other characters are developed. So in my main team's case on the right with Blue Goku, my goal is to build as much bar and as many resources as possible so I could bring Beerus out with 2 assists, so that way he dominates the mid-game. The reason why I want to do that is because he requires the most bar. However, when he has bar, his damage is really high. His neutral is not the best, but if I bring him in an Oki situation or in a round start situation, he's generally a lot stronger, especially if he has 2 assists if he has to play neutral. And then the third, and this is the most important one, he has very, very high damage supers. His level 3 does 1829. It's one of the highest damaging level 3s in the game, on top of leading to a 50-50 on top of normal Beerus Oki in the corner, which makes that particular level 3 the hardest hitting level 3 in my team. So doing something like 1-1, like if I have Kefla, if I go on the ground, that's 864. 864 into 1829 is big, big damage. That damage hits like a fucking truck. And that's... Oh, hey, how's it going, Perfect Cell? How's it going? Oh, that might be food. But, yep. Oh, thank you so much for the follow. I really appreciate it, my friend. So, anyway, my food's here. But the point that I'm trying to make here, right, is that, essentially, these characters have to have good pressure. And the reason why good pressure is important is because these assists are a resource, and you need them for your damage because your goal is to two-touch. So if I need to spend my resources in neutral so I can get the touch, or if I need to spend them on damage so that way I can extend and then get my optimal damage, get my corner carry, get everything that I need to kind of get started and get my offense started, you don't want to spend them on block every single time. So, like, good mix-up or whatever. Ooh, that's hard. Yeah, you could do, like, a good mix-up, like... But then, if I get the touch, my damage is not going to be that great. Now, some characters, like Blue Goku and Base Vegeta, they have loops. So, they don't really care. But the point being is that, generally speaking, you're going to hit a lot harder if you have assists to extend into, and your neutral is going to be a lot more threatening. Having a character who's self-sufficient on block with great stagger pressure, like that, is actually quite important, and that's something that all 5 of these characters on the screen right now, all 5 of these points, despite having very different playstyles, all of them have exceptional pressure. Base Vegeta has a -2 5L. That's privileged. He's got a 4L. He's got a 9-frame 5M. We've got an excellent Ki Blast. Very, very good pressure. Cell. He doesn't have a 4L, but he has a 4M. So he can frame trap here very heavily into another low. So those of you that like to block high after blocking a 2M, you can't do that against Cell, because he will kill you for it. He's also got an excellent range, 2L. And he's got excellent cross-ups. So his pressure is remarkably difficult to block, on top of having mix-ups when he wants it. So this character is pretty much always a threat. Bardock. The good old Goichi killer. This character, very, very good. Excellent frame data. Excellent frame data. He also has the ability to generate his own plus frames, which can be hard to react to because he can, he can true string into everything, or he can do... And that all has the same timing, which makes people afraid to mash. And out of nowhere, boom, they're holding plus frames. What's really cool is he also has to anti-air if they try to do something. Oops. And while his cross-ups are a little bit on the weaker side, as you can see, he does have strong same-side options, which not a lot of characters do. Kefla. Bonk, which makes DR and 6M a lot harder to react to. Or... very strong option. On top of having amazing cross-ups and access to mix-ups when she wants it. Oops, fucked up my mix-up. So, Kefla, generally, very, very strong pressure. She has excellent frame data as well. 9-frame 2M. I believe it's the fastest 2M in the game. Her Ki Blast is 11 frames, which means it is incredibly potent. It is really, really, really strong. And very difficult to deal with as well. So, and she's got a beautiful jab. Look at that. Look at that range. That is deceptively far. And then, of course, there's Blue Goku. You guys have... this character's kind of silly. He's also got beautiful jump-ins like this, which means that he can't be 2H'd for his jump-ins. And what's really beautiful is that he's plus on Reflect here, so if Bardock guard cancels Reflex, he dies. So you can just do that. If you Reflect, you end up getting hit by the command grab. into big damage, which is another thing that we're going to talk about. So if your point is meant to develop things, they're also going to take advantage of resources that they actually, you know, need to take advantage of. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, he'll hit you. Legit. But yeah. This is really, really powerful. And the reason why this is powerful, not only that, he's got this. Broken medium, on top of being -2 if it's his forehand. That is incredibly strong. Because that lets him dash block, lets him run his shenanigans. The point is, they all have very strong pressure, and that ties into something else. A point, believe it or not, when people think of a point, they're like, okay, my character, whoever needs the most assists, whoever needs the most help is the one that's going to be on point. No. You actually want a character with a degree of self-sufficiency. So, in Blue Goku's case, for example, he doesn't really need help on hit. And the reason why he doesn't need help on hit is because he does a lot of damage. Which develops... Oh, pain. Which does a lot of damage. Does a lot of damage. He's very self-sufficient on hit. Kefla, another character that's actually somewhat self-sufficient on hit. You don't really need to extend her combos very often. And the reason why is because even touches like 6H and whatnot lead to pretty decent damage. Oops, missed it. There we go. Second try. Boom. Decent damage. Gets hit by Oki. Boom. Big damage. Especially since both of those combos actually build quite a bit of resources. So, Blue Goku is very self-sufficient on hit. Where he needs the most help is neutral. Bardock, also very self-sufficient on hit. Bardock doesn't have to worry too much. Let's see if I remember how to do Bardock combos. Pain. Oh, I don't remember how to do Bardock combos. I don't remember how to do Bardock. It's been a while since I played this character. Or even learned his combos, to be honest. Point is, very, very self-sufficient on hit. He can extend with assists if he wants to keep his resources and maximize it and kill, but he doesn't need to. He doesn't need to do the damage that he needs to touch you. And that's one of the biggest things about him. That makes him really good. Which, if you don't have to constantly call an assist on hit, then you are free to do stuff like this, and then convert that way. You're free to use your assists to actually help you in neutral, or your assists to help you in pressure. And not only that, but Bardock, his pressure is pretty self-sufficient as well, because he doesn't really have a lot of crazy mix-ups. Like, that's not very good. Now, obviously, if you have mix-ups with your assists, definitely use them. Especially if you want neutral without using them. But his pressure is very self-sufficient. That's why you see more high-level players go for stuff like DR rather than 6M. No, his best pressure move is this. I'm not subscribed anymore. But no. No, his best pressure move absolutely is this. There's no getting around that. His 5L is amazing. His 5M, close second. You honestly don't even really need 236S. It's just cool to have. So you could... I've seen Goichi do stuff like... You know, this is really, really, really fun pressure. So, self-sufficiency and really strong pressure are qualities that make a good point. Now, I'm going to have to demonstrate this with I'm going to demonstrate this with Cell, because I actually have combos, kind of, with Cell. But another quality of a great point that you should look for, point number 3.5, if you count the meter gain stuff, if you count the other stuff, the self-sufficiency. Motherfucking meter gain is so important. Meter gain is so crucial. The ability to build bar while still ending in sliding knockdown is very, very important. That's pretty decent meter gain. Most characters, generally off of JH, get 1.5. Cell can actually extend here and get 2 bars, which means that from pretty much nothing, he can DHC out, which is really, really strong. And that's not even his most optimal combo. He actually has re-jump stuff that's annoying to do. I'm not going to bother. That actually builds just a smidge more. And he has excellent damage here as well, which is another thing. High damage and high meter gain need to go hand in hand. 17, Tohan, and Baby are OD in meter. Yes, they are. Boom. With 1 assist, 2 bars, 4.1k damage, that's a lot of damage. How much should a point be able to build in standard? Generally speaking, 1.5 is considered okay off of JH. Actually, it's considered kind of mediocre. 2 bars off of JH is really good. 2 bars off of something like 2L is ridiculous. Roughly. You want to be able to build a little bit more than that, but yeah. Generally speaking, 1.75 is considered okay. Generally, what I consider good bar build, it depends. I think it's acceptable if you build 2 bars, but need to spend an EX move for damage. Or knockdown. I think that that's actually pretty good. Like, for example, Blue Goku doesn't really build that much bar, or he doesn't net that much bar. However, Blue Goku does do a lot of damage. So, like, if I do something like... Let's see if I can do it. Something like that, not too bad. Especially for the damage that I just did. Because they are going to just die horribly. Teen Gohan does not directly convert into meter. That's actually a myth. Teen Gohan has the great meter potential in the corner. However, he needs an assist to secure a knockdown, or you end up spending your meter, which is not good. So he could build like 2 or 3 bars, but if you have to spend bar on Vanish, that actually eats into how much bar you actually gain, which for Teen Gohan unfortunately levels out his meter gain and requires him to use an assist on hit, which is actually a detriment, because it means that he's using his resources on hit, which is really good, you know, that's fine, but it leaves him less resources in neutral and less resources in pressure, and those are areas in which he benefits greatly from having an assistant. So Teen Gohan is on the needier side of these points, essentially. Like, I genuinely think Teen Gohan is very strong, probably one of the strongest characters in the game. I think he's definitely top 10, but I agree with Yasha, he's on the lower end of top 10 in my opinion. Like, I actually don't think he's anywhere near as strong as people think he is. But I do think he's strong. But this character, if I wanted to, let's say I want to go for max meter gain. Actually... Pain. See, let's see if I do that. Should be able to build more. There we go. It's not too bad. Now, that does eventually affect how much I do, but the cool thing is I still secure a sliding knockdown, and that character dies on the next touch if I get it because Blue Goku 2 touches. More importantly, I also have the option of not spending bar if I don't want to, and I don't have to spend it on Vanish like Tohan. So half a bar, generally not that big of a deal when you're playing Blue Goku, because Blue Goku will build a lot, and you probably already built some by playing neutral and pressure anyway. Yeah, that's like half his health bar. That's pretty crazy. I wonder if I could do something like that. Oops. Not bad. So if I do... No, that's too low. Nope. I gotta hit. So if I do... Well, he also has good meter gain off stuff like his his pre-vanish loops too. So if you want to do stuff like... Pain. Overextended that too much. But you guys get the point. Blue Goku has pretty decent meter gain. Especially for damage. Especially for the damage he does. It's pretty insane. Kefla is another character with... Oops, wrong one. Kefla... Wrong one again. Kefla is another character that actually has pretty excellent meter gain. For very cheap as well. And then so on, so on, so on. I'm already at almost 4 bars. And I could actually optimize that even further so I can get that extra bar I need to kill. So Kefla, pretty strong. That's very good meter build. More importantly, the thing that makes Kefla an excellent point is that it's almost entirely self-sufficient. So obviously she needs an assist to convert off this. But doesn't matter. Because if they get hit by this... Let's see if I can do it. I did it once before. I should be able to do it again. Even though I never practiced this combo. Should start. Pain. Almost. What if I do this, actually? Not bad. That's not bad meter gain at all for a heavily prorated starter, like 6H. That's actually really good meter gain. I think she can get 2 bars if you can do the link. The JH5L link consistently. I used to be able to, but unfortunately I suck at the game. And I don't practice enough. Don't practice anywhere near as much as I should. Gogeta 4. Hey, Gio. How's it going? Yes, Gogeta 4 is an excellent point. And we'll talk about Gogeta 4 in a bit. But, yeah. These characters have quintessential habits that you'll see across all points. Let's review. So, number 1. Strong mobility. Number 2. They are self-sufficient, so they could take the most advantage of their assists in areas where they need the most help. Number 3, really good damage and meter gain. Those are super, super important. I would say these are qualities of the point, for sure. And 4, which I think I skipped over, very strong pressure. Those 4 qualities are qualities that you want to look for in a point because that means that they have really, really good synergy. Now, here's the last one that is actually really hard to talk about, and I can't do it with this team, but it is good DHC synergy. That's more important for your other characters, but if you have a character like 21 that you need to set up, or Genki Dama, you need to have a point that can set that up. Good DHC synergy starts with the point. Because if they're on point, you know what I mean? They're the ones that you're most likely going to DHC from, and your goal is to develop them, and most of the time, not always, but most of the time, your goal and end development ends with having them brought out. So, what do I mean by that? Well, consider this. Let's say I want to develop Beerus. Or better yet, let's say I want to develop 18. Okay? And we're going to go... What's a decent point? Most characters can usually DHC pretty easily. So, not that big of a deal. But let's go Egohan. And let's say we want to develop 18. If it's a bad team, don't play it. Okay. Wow, the team on the right was actually pretty strong, to be honest. So, right off the bat, my goal, DHC into 18. Now, one of the things that makes that possible with Gogeta, yeah, you do. I know, and it's helping me figure out who's subscribed and who's not. It's actually kind of great. These icons are sick. I'm actually very happy with them. Make sure you thank Star, guys. Let me know if you have any neat suggestions like that. I wanted to get a soundboard up for today and have you guys, like, especially... I want to get that ready for tomorrow for the ring match evals. But I'm going to have some sound clips that you guys can actually spend money on. Or not money, I think bits. I have no idea how that works, but someone told me it's a good idea. And I have some very fun sound effects for you guys, including Are You Deadass Ed Boy. It's going to be kind of great. But let's say my goal is to DHC into 18. Now, one of the things that makes Gogeta a really good point is that his level 1 is pretty decent at setting stuff up. So let's say I'm about right here. And what I mean by that, by being pretty decent to set stuff up, is it hits in a way that sets up my characters, which is very strong. So that's cool. Not bad damage. I can even push it further. Oops, missed it. That's a lot of damage. That is a lot of damage. Yeah, I forgot. I forgot to play this character. It's so sad. That is a really good amount of damage. And then from there, so his level 1 side switches, but takes him all the way to the other corner, which is nice. That kind of affects things, because it basically can affect the spacing for a lot of characters' mix-ups. And some characters need their mix-ups specifically set up in a certain way. For example, 21. I need more bar. I'm dumb. There we go. His meter gain is okay. But let's say I want max damage. Yeah. Pain. I'm bad at the game, guys. I'm so sorry. Forgot Gogeta's weird. Whatever, it doesn't matter. You guys get the point. So I'm just going to do a normal-ass combo. From a medium starter. Why not? Fuck it. I'm not going to relearn Gogeta combos today. So I could do stuff like this. Because he drags them down, which lets her get her mix-up, which is pretty nice. And what's cool is that if he does it on the ground, so let's say he gets it off this, he takes him to the other side of the corner, or the other corner. Oh, no, he doesn't. Wow. Oh, right, he has to land first. Oops. Did he land? There we go. So this is overall pretty fun synergy, because now I can mix them in the other corner, which could be a bit confusing for your opponent if they don't understand Gogeta. So that's pretty cool. But good DHC and good DHC synergies like that are very, very important. And the thing that makes Gogeta really, really, really fun and really, really sick is the fact that he also has a high damage DHC if he gets his level up. So doing stuff like this, really, really strong. Especially if you're at level 3. Then your level 1 is hitting like a truck. See? Very high damage into a mix-up into death. Having good DHC synergy with your team is very, very important. If you have a character that doesn't have very good damage off their level 3, you want to make sure that their support characters, the characters that they're developing, do have good damage on their level 3. The worst thing in this game is having bad DHC damage. That is a good way to not kill. Depends. It depends. So, and the reason why it depends is because you could DHC into that. You do lose out on a little bit of damage. It's always better to level 1. However, I did not mean to do that. However, some characters, for example, like Beerus, actually have great ways to DHC into their synergy. Vegeta, Gogeta, Vegito, that's another one. Like, for example, Kefla has a very strong level 3, especially because it's omnidirectional. So let's say I do something like this, okay? Say I want to play this team. Tohan would just be too easy. All right, I'm gonna please my fellow supporters. I'm gonna choose Cavern now. It does count as good DHC, but only if they have roots that lead into it. So the good thing about this, I don't know Vegito combo, so forgive me, is the fact that he can probably do this. Oh, messed up. Pain. And she tracks. So she can catch them out of the air. That's pretty cool. And what's cool is that she still hits from here, which most characters don't. So instead of spending on JH, Vegito can tack on a little bit of extra meter gain to get that third bar to DHC out. That is an example of having good DHC synergy. Because now, he DHCs out, but brings Kefla in on a hard level 3. If you can moon jump, it's a 50-50. You know, she has this. Oh. Damn. She has this. Damn. Something like that. She has this. She's got meaty. So, she does have a really good situation. There's a great way to tack on extra damage. More importantly, Kefla. Let's see if a normal BNB will do this. Because I've actually never labbed this before. Almost. I think you need a little bit more height. She can do it off this, though. That is strong. Because that guarantees death. And what's really cool about Kefla in particular is that Kefla gets that height off the R, which builds a lot of bar. And DR is not a very huge scaling starter anyway, so that is a great way to guarantee death off DR. That is strong. So now, that is an example of great DHC synergy. Another example of really good DHC synergy would be my main team. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. I meant to go back to lobby. But yeah. I'm sure your friends hate you. I hate getting Genki Dama. It makes me mad every time. But I'm not gonna lie, if I played base Goku, I would Genki Dama every 5 seconds. Yes, it is. You are correct. And that is the optimal damage. Think about the way you can get your characters optimal damage and the way they're able to combo into their supers. That is very important, especially for the point. The point needs to be flexible on their DHC because that is the most likely super you're going to DHC from. So the reason why it's important and why I like this DHC synergy, for example, this builds 2 bars. Let's see if I get the cool bombo action. Nah, I'm not gonna borrow. I'm not gonna bother. Keep it simple. I can do this into this. That's pretty fun. The reason why it's good to whiff Beerus is because Beerus recovers in time for longer stuff, and if the DHC causes a knockdown, Beerus now doesn't have to worry about neutral. Beerus comes in for less than half a bar, and I get to run Oki, where Beerus is absolutely strong and monstrous. Something I did lab out, but it's actually kind of weird to time because I'm not quite used to it and I don't play this team that often, is off of Blue Goku's level 1 and whatnot, he does get the same one he does like here. That safe jump that leads into that. Stuff like that. Point is, Beerus comes out in his strongest, he comes out developed, and I can do cool DHC like that for less than a few bar. What's really, really cool as well is the fact that Kefla is very flexible. So Kefla is going to want to do this. Because that's a lot of damage, and if you track, that's a great way to get in. Amazing. Right? But she can also do this. which is less damage, but sets up my characters a little bit better. So the weakness of my team is, well, it's not really a weakness. I mean, there's no way you can get around it. Is that I have to do this to set up. I don't get the optimal one, but this is still more than enough damage to really fuck with my opponent. So Kefla having multiple ways to DHC, and Kefla having different DHC values depending on her height, does change a lot. And the fact that she does more damage on the ground than she does in the air is a huge deal. Because that essentially means that now for me to DHC into Beerus, if I'm on the ground, I don't have... If I get sliding knockdown, it's GG's. I may not get the extra meter with that or this, but who cares? As long as I get it, that character is dying on the next touch if they don't already die. So yes, good DHCs is the hidden fifth most important thing. Now, let's talk about, before we begin to wrap up, because this was a shorter one, and we will watch VODs, don't worry. But before we wrap up, we're going to talk more importantly about some characters that are very good in the Point War, but have some conditions that do make them a little bit weaker. I know. Some of you are probably like, Team Gohan, weaker? We'll get to him. Alright, this is the point where my audience is gonna fucking kill me. If you are going to choose a point that is not top tier, that is okay. I'm the only person that will say that to you. It is okay to choose a point that is not top tier. However, you must, absolutely must, have an understanding of their weaknesses and how to compensate for them. And you must understand how they affect the way you're going to play this character. So Team Gohan, very, very strong. His strengths are absolutely fucking massive. And his strengths are alone are enough to put him in top tier category. So I'm not saying Team Gohan's not top tier. Please don't misunderstand me. But it is also important to understand that Team Gohan does have weaknesses. His biggest weakness is Oki. This is very tiny. And the timing to actually get this to hit up tech double jump is very fucking tight. So much so that it's borderline impractical. So much so that this... You often see Team Gohans do that, or do something like this into meaty. But Team Gohan, that is kind of a big weakness of his. Another thing is that while he does move forward, he doesn't have very good air mobility. He only has this. And unlike Adult Gohan, he cannot travel across the screen with it. Doesn't 5L whiff 8JH safe jump up tech? It can. But that's the thing. This is not a great button. Because JH is cool and all. But a character like, let's say, Gogeta can do that. And because it's L, if I land... And if they up tech, with Team Gohan, Forgot I can't knock down with Team Gohan. It's tricky to time. Very tricky to time. Pain. I'm gonna delay the JH a little bit. I can't really convert from that. So if they get hit, I'd have to call an assist. And if I had an assist, why didn't I just... extend my damage? Also, if I whiff, I lost an assist. Meanwhile, Gogeta... free conversion. On block and on hit. That's why Tohan is when it comes to Oki. Now, that's one of the best things. The another thing is Team Gohan is not a highly mobile character. He's a very stationary character. The whole point of Team Gohan is that he wants to bait you to super dash at him, because if you super dash at him, he hits you with this. And if he's on the ground, he hits you with this and you die. But if you have great mobility, he needs to get in with assists. Cool. That's not a big deal, right? Okay, that's a little bit committal. Okay, -2. That's sick. You know. Haha. Now I'm in. Except in the corner, I don't really have mix unless I do outside of the universal stuff. I could do like triple overhead if they're big bodies. I could do stuff like this. I could do double overheads with JL, which is cool. But none of that is particularly groundbreaking. It's not a 50-50, and there's not a lot here to threaten. I just use an assist, so if that assist is my only assist, I probably can't 6M. Yeah, there's not a lot I can do here. It's good pressure. And mid-screen, you know, you always have this. But remember, I'm spending an EX move to do this. And yes, he builds an insane amount of bar. But that's still meter penalty. And if I don't build enough bar to DHC, that's going to kind of be a problem. Especially because I can't knock down if I use 236H. So I kind of need to go into super to use that mix, which makes that mix situational. It's not like Kefla Bonk, where it's kind of always a threat. Now, he does have this, which is a big help. You know, you can do stuff like that, which is really cool. But overall, his pressure situation and his Oki situation are a couple of the reasons why I dropped him. Now, that doesn't mean that he sucks at Oki. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, for a top tier, I expect better. Now, to reiterate the point, this does not mean Sohan's not top tier. That does not mean the benefits of playing Tohan don't vastly outweigh his weaknesses. All this means is that when you are playing Tohan, you need to keep this in mind. And these are things that having other points, like the other points that we were talking about, don't have to worry about. Like Kefla, I don't ever have to worry about not hitting my meaty. I don't ever have to worry about my JM not catching up tech. I can air-to-air confirm with my dash jump JM. I can JH meaty, which lets me do really fun mix-ups. I can call barrier. Her pressure is more free-flowing, and she has a lot of the benefits that Tohan has on block. But here's another issue. Tohan cannot escape the corner. So if you up tech, you can't double jump and lariat out. You can't dive kick. You can do this maybe. Try to snipe them. But that's it. Gogeta gets knocked down. I'm out. And what's really cool is if he has an assist, I'm out. And it's my turn. That makes Tohan a little weak defensively. What's really cool is that unlike Tohan, if you do chase Gogeta, he has this, which will put them back in the corner. Now, admittedly, that's a read, but possible. Hell, Gogeta could even do... Let's see. Stuff like that. Stuff like that, which is pretty dumb, to be honest. But yeah. There. And that's the weaknesses of Team Gohan. You have to constantly bait your opponent. But what if your opponent has the life lead and you don't? Team Gohan's utility falls pretty quickly at that point because now he has no choice but to move forward. His air-to-airs can also be good, but slightly weak. Especially if you look at a character like this or this. Now again, you have to keep those in mind. Now Gogeta. Gogeta has problems too. Biggest problem is no Ki Blast. He cannot check approaches. This is a massive commitment. This is a massive commitment. The only way he could save himself from being so minus here is if he vanishes, and that's going to eat into his meter gain and prevent him from properly developing his team. That is a problem. Another weakness is on block. He has to take risks because he is so minus. He can only stagger from about right here. He can also restagger here because he can threaten to abuse the respect by frame trapping into that. Or he can do that. Or he can do that, which is fine. His cross-ups are good. However, again, he's vulnerable to guard cancel. Now, if he wants, he could do this, which is good. That is a 50-50. But you're spending an assist. That is not great. I mean, it's great because your opponent's going to guess, and, you know, Gogeta has self-sufficient combos. His combos are actually kind of hard to extend, to be honest. But, point being, he's fine. He's fine. But his pressure is on the weaker side. Now, there are some dumb shit he can do. Like, for example, all of these hit overhead. They all have to be blocked standing. Now, I can do this. Or I can do into low. Which is kind of hard to fucking block, to be completely honest, because he has 3 of those. So you really don't want a fuzzy block. That's cool. But again, something to keep in mind. Remember, you want to be judicial with where you spend your assists. So that's a bit of a problem. What he lacks in that, though, he makes up for in mobility. You know, he's very, very mobile. He's very hard to approach. Very similar to Team Gohan because his JM is so massive. And you can also do stuff like that. Stuff like that. If he has a beam, oh my gosh. Like, this plus beam is really dumb. Like, it's very hard to avoid. And then he just takes his turn. Pretty cool. But overall, not exactly this pressure monster. Although he does have this, which is very scary. You know. Stuff like that. Pretty scary. But not crazy. But he does have excellent mobility. So we can thank him for that. Pretty cool. Then there's Blue Vegeta. This character has been so hot at mid-level right now. And to be honest, I hate people who main this character. If you main Blue Vegeta, except Wing Dude, I love you. You're pretty cool. But if you main Blue Vegeta, there's a high likelihood that I probably hate you. And it's not because I think this character is broken. It's because I think two things. One, I don't think Blue Vegeta mains are aware of what's actually broken about this character. And B, the things that they think are broken about this character are not that strong at high level. Yes, he could do, let's see, 50-50. Cool. With a low blocks and assist. One of the only characters that could do that. And it's very dangerous to reflect him because, you know, he could just do nothing and then bait it like a cool guy. Yeah. Yeah, he could do that. But he could also just do, you know, that. That. Oops. Damn, hard to get that delay timing. So, not really, no. He's better, but no. This is cool. But instead of worrying about the 50-50, I would be paying attention to his amazing stagger pressure. -4 and spaces out most jabs, which is kind of fucking crazy, to be honest. Oops. Counter hit, wow. That's kind of funny. M free. If it's UI and they want to mash, oops, oops, wow, frame trap. Frame trap. Yeah, I figured. Except, yeah, it's a natural frame trap, so I don't really like it that much for a couple reasons. The reason why I don't like it very much is because I can delay this a little bit more and still frame trap. So I get to choose the timing. This naturally frame traps. I don't like natural frame traps. I like frame traps that I can manage the time because it makes the rhythm a little bit more ambiguous and it conditions respect a lot more easily. So that's pretty cool. You can also just dash back in. He also has this. So he's got very, very good pressure. I would even say his pressure is probably stronger than most of the cast. Like, his pressure is actually quite dumb. And it's in the upper echelon for sure. but not because of a stupid 50-50. No one cares. If you have it, cool. But the only advantage it has over this is that it's not 2Hable. So that's the plus side. But if you're pressuring properly, you're going to get away with this a lot more than you think at high level, because 2H is a huge commitment. And if you're wrong, it could be a very bad situation for you. But why do I think this character is not that good in the Point War? Well, first of all, this not being able to 2H after this. Now, I know people are like, well, he can cancel this on whiff. No one cares, because no one's reacting to a raw tag with this. That is a hard call out. And more often than not, you're not expecting a raw tag. Now, I can 2H with any other character, but if I can't 2H this, that means my opponent can manage their life for free if I try to keep them at a distance. So after Blue Vegeta wins the Point War, it is very hard for them to make them want to approach. Unlike the other Vegetas, which can constantly be in their face, but also constantly keep them at bay. Both of the other Vegetas do this. And they have an anti-air that they can threaten. In SSJ Vegeta's case, he has 2. This is a weakness at high level. Another thing is, this is not very high mobility when another character's normal reaches farther. This is a normal. I can vanish cancel this on whiff. This is a commitment. That's cool. But look how slow and sluggish it is. Like, yes, it leads into options if they get hit. Like, I can mix up. That's cool. But this is not that good versus... This is threatening. This is hard to react to. So, his mobility, not that great. You might be wondering, okay, but what about... What button is that? No. What about that? His grabs. His grabs have a lot of recovery on whiff. It's cool that it anti-airs in his Ki Blast property, but it also whiffs on crouchers. And most people are already holding down when they want to 2H something. Now, a lot of people stand when someone's in the air. That's a good thing. But he doesn't have a dive kick. There's nothing to threaten unless he's about right here, which is a good bait. Don't get me wrong. It's good neutral. But... And you can air dash it, which is cool. But, again, not exactly the monstrous approach tool that you would expect to see on something like Bardock or base Vegeta. Or even Blue Goku. Or Vegeta. So, this character, not having great mobility, is going to put greater emphasis on your universal movement. Your universal movement doesn't just have to be good now, it has to be impeccable. You also have to have an understanding of the game. You basically need to be good at the game to play this character. Like Kane. And even then, Kane does run into difficulty. Visible difficulty. Thank you so much for the God of Thrash. Thank you so much for God of Trash for the follow. I really, really appreciate it, my friend. This is tough. This is tough, to be honest. Because now it means that he has to move, which is fine, but there are other better characters that have better mobility that also develop equally well. Those are things that you have to consider. Now, that's the thing. Can you still play these characters? Yes. Should you play these characters? If you want to, absolutely. But if you're going to play these characters, you need to keep their weaknesses in mind. They are still strong at the Point War, but not every point is considered equal. So your homework for this week is going to be go into the lab, look at your team, pull it apart, look at the characters that you play, and use this criteria. Who has great meter gain? Solo. Who has awesome damage? Solo. Who uses assists well? Who has great mobility on top of the universal mechanics? Who has excellent DHC support that can actually set up everyone else, and who develops my team the best? That is going to be your homework. Now, before we transition to the VOD portion, do you guys have any questions? Any characters that you want to take a look at? I'll do this for about 5 minutes while I eat. But do you guys have any questions for me? Anything that you want to go over in more depth, or anything that you want to know about? Day, drop him. You really shouldn't be playing this character. His capability is on point. He's excellent. He's excellent. He moves forward very well. His stuff is a little bit of a commitment, but who cares? Who fucking cares? Who cares? Who cares? Who cares? $17 is an excellent mid. The reason why 17 is an excellent mid is because he has a fantastic fucking assist. So if you have a point like Kefla, or a point like Team Gohan, or a point like Blue Goku that could really take advantage, especially Blue Goku, because the barrier protects him and people like to mash on the command grab, and he still gives the conversion off the command grab because of the hit, excellent. Excellent. Because even though he has great damage and he has really, really good meter gain, his normals are really terrible, and his pressure at times can be very risky. So, generally speaking, you want to be very, very careful, because a well-timed mash, or somebody that knows how to deal with his pressure, is going to make the character fucking crumble. But if they have if you have a life lead and you have 17 comes out with bar, so he can fake stuff a little bit more. He has stuff to burn and whatnot, and he has 2 assists that can really help him after being developed. He can be a nightmare, because when he has a life lead, they're a lot more likely to disrespect him, and he is excellent at baiting and killing the disrespect. So I do think 17 is actually a better mid. He does not function at the point war, because he just really sucks at the point war, to be honest. Broly's a weird case. Okay, so let's see. This one at a time. I'm curious about some stuff regarding my team, but we've talked about my team a lot on stream, so maybe I'll ask in Discord later. I can just answer it right now. I don't like your team. I don't think your team is very good. And the reason why is because Videl's useless. And you know this. I'm not sure what else. Like, the problem with Videl, right, is the fact that you are not playing her in her optimal position. Videl is very good at the point war. She's even better as a mid. As you guys saw, and you guys can review this. You guys can review this. This might be a dumb question because it's about UI, but who do you think is better at the point where UI or Kefla? UI. UI is a very unique case, and I'll talk about UI in depth, but I feel like it might be easier to just go over Ketara's team for a second. Man, I really don't like this team. And the reason why it frustrates me is because it's actually so close to being really good. Like, your shell, I think it's a little bit needy, but the shell itself is really, really, really strong. Yes, but it takes more than, as I just spent the last hour and a half explaining, it takes more than just good damage and meter gain to have a good character that's strong at the point war. He's an excellent support character. He strikes me as a character that comes out to preserve blue life, and he can maintain consistent pressure if your point is actually struggling. So I think that that is really, 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 really good. And I think that that's the optimal way to use him, because I actually don't think his neutral is that strong at all. Like, yes, he has the flip, and yes, he has the mobility, and yes, he can charge forward really blindingly fast if your opponent's not ready for it. But the problem is that at high level, they are ready for it. Dealer's choice today. She does not check all 5 boxes. Because she's very weak defensively. She doesn't have a reflect. The reason why I don't like it is because you don't have a reflect. Not only that, her mobility is only great when she has bar. When she has bar, that's a threat. That's a threat. This is insane. Like, this is so good. Instant neutral. Mix-up. She's got a level 3 that leads to an excellent mix-up as well. So, DHCing into a mix-up and then putting them in a blender afterwards is where she's at her strongest. However, no reflect is really bad because if they play the point war and whatnot, you want to be able to make sure that your opponent never gets an advantage off of you. It's a battle in neutral. The point war is very neutral focused. And because of that, not being able to reflect assists, not being able to reflect incoming projectiles, not being able to reflect anything that jails into vanish, and then they can put you in a mix-up if you reflect the vanish, that's very weak. That is extremely weak. And we saw Star at high level have that abused against him. Now, if she's mid, that weakness is no longer as important because they're dying. Like, if they're already on the ground, like right here, ooh, she's strong. That's really good. Like, she's got, she's got dirt. Like, she's got stuff. Like, they're getting hit, you know? But not having good defensive options is a great way for her to die. And because she dies, your team often comes in undeveloped. So your 21 now sucks because she doesn't have steals. She has no assist now that she can really use. She only has 1 assist. And you no longer have the ability to zone. You can't just hang back and do this. One of the biggest problems that I see in your in your ring match evaluations is that when Videl dies, you're zoning. And then you vanish on a key blast when she can jail. Like, so you're wasting bar. You're doing JS, sometimes you 2S, which is cool. But you're zoning, if your opponent has a life lead, they never need to approach you. They could just sit here and be like, fine, you want to zone? Zone. Lock yourself out. I'll just politely sit here and wait until you lose the game because you're not approaching forward. That's kind of a problem with your team. So now the team kind of falls apart. 21's meter gain is pretty good. It's not as good as Videl's or any dedicated point, so Genki Dama might be out of the question because you're going to prioritize your mix-ups and steals over Genki Dama, so now your team's competing. This team crumbles when Videl dies, and that's why I don't like it. And Videl dies very easily, as you said. Let's see. Let's see. 17 is a pointer mid. We answered that. How about Super Baby or Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta? I think you mean Gogeta. Gogeta is an excellent point. Gogeta is a fantastic point. It can. Gogeta is an excellent point. So you can definitely play him. Gogeta has really good damage, really good meter gain, and excellent mix-ups, especially with assists. His mix-ups are really good. He sets up level 3 very well, and he can use assists to level up, so that way he can damage really easily. He's a quintessential point. Fantastic. He doesn't advance forward very easily, but he has a double air dash, so he's highly mobile. He's also very hard to approach. No. No, he's not bad at anchor. He's not bad at anchor. You just don't want to play him on anchor. He's pretty self-sufficient, but take advantage of his assists. Take advantage of him while he has assists, is what I mean to say. Are we still doing that PS4 ring match evaluation anytime soon? Yes, we're going to try to do that this week. Can you elaborate on why you think UI is unique as a point? Yes. The thing that makes UI unique as a point versus someone like, let's say, Kefla. James Sunderland, which Z Broly and UI assists work best for Gogeta 4? Probably AA, in my opinion. First of all, this is very privileged. Like, I know we meme, you know? But it's not just a meme. This is a very privileged button. Because I can stagger from this. And my opponent can't do anything. He has an excellent 2L as well. His pressure is linear. But pretty good. He has access to self plus frames. And with assists, which I don't see more people do, you can fake it out with the assists like that. You can also... Oops, messed up. Okay, that's what I mean. Kefla mix-ups. What's even crazier is you can grab before the assist comes out. You can do... Oops, messed up. Oh, I don't have bar. That's fine. If he has bar... Yes, even with the nerfs, he is still very much a monster. Probably still top 5, honestly. Look at that stagger. Like... like... Thank you so much for the follow, James. Really appreciate it. And guys, all my new followers, if you guys are watching, keep in mind, if you want some more personalized help with your team, if you want to chat with these cool folks and whatnot, and you want to get more personal one-on-one time with me and Star, and we'll help you get better at the game, please do consider subscribing. That does help out the channel, and more importantly, you gain access to the Discord, which basically will give you access to me and Star. We're very, very active there. So if you guys are interested in taking your gameplay to the next level, please feel free to come in. We also have some pretty good players in there as well, including Yasha and Kasuga. And I plan on getting more French players in so that way they can help everyone out as well. So if you guys are interested, please consider subscribing. Or if you want to support the stream more directly, consider donating as well. That actually does help me monetarily. I do want to be able to make this a part-time job at the very least, more than it is. And I would love to be able to upgrade the content for you all so that way we could really raise the production value. I don't know if he's number 1. I would say there are some characters that might have stronger toolkits than him right now. But yeah, that's great. But more importantly, rather than all those mix-ups, the thing that makes him unique is that he's never wrong. What do I mean by that? What I mean is that he can make a wrong call like this, misjudge the timing, and it doesn't matter. Oh, thank you so much for the gifted sub to, wow, you gifted a sub to Gio. Oh god, everyone. Please, no. No, don't do this. Oh no. Point is, He's very rarely ever wrong. Like, for example, if Trunks were to 2H right here, this has a probability of clashing and giving UI another chance. There are also times that because of his extreme privilege, you could be in a position where any other character would die, but you escaped purely because UI pressed 5L, or UI decided to flip or do something dumb, and UI is allowed to basically survive it. Yeah, I can clash. It happened to Kane when he was fighting Noka on Wanted. And because of that, I think that this character is extremely strong, but I also think he's very boring. I think he's bad for the game, and I genuinely think that if you're trying to improve at the game, you should not play this character. If you have bad habits that you need to correct, this is not the character that you should play. This is a character that you should play only having mastery of the game, because at the very least you will understand that you can't get away with dumb shit. But if you are trying to learn, get the hang of pressure, this character, Yes, he is. I have seen people get away with murder with this character. We watch VODs every night, James. Or I'm sorry, we watch VODs after every masterclass. So if you stick around for like 10 minutes, we're going to watch a couple of VODs. You'll see some dumb shit, I promise. You'll see some dumb shit. But yeah, this character is absolutely stupid. But that's why he's unique, and that's why he's a problem. Kefla is a better point in the traditional sense that she's a good point. However, UI Goku is amazing, and he's kind of a one-man army. You give him 2 assists, and he's not really concerned about development of the other characters. He's just there to kill. And the other characters are there to essentially preserve his blue life so he can come back and continue to kill. This character is not good for the game. Another question that was asked, I think I answered the Broly question, right? Is Gogeta 4 a really bad anchor? No. This might be dumb. SBR. No, SBR is a decent point. I would say play SBR. I would say SBR is better mid, because neutral is a struggle for him. So having him come in off of a DHC, especially because he has amazing DHC damage, is probably better. Especially if you're playing a good point like Team Gohan that could win the point war for him. What's your opinion on Z Broly currently? Probably the strongest character in the game. At least he's tied with, like, Kid Buu and 21 and probably base Vegeta. How about Jiren? Is he an excellent point? No. But that doesn't mean he's bad at the point war. The big problem with Jiren, well, it's not really a problem. It's just why he's not a good point. Is that he doesn't really advance forward. A lot of his stuff is counter-based and stationary, and I believe the only thing he does that advances is this. Which is good. But minus 45, not exactly the best. Minus 43, not exactly the best. See what I mean? More importantly, the reason why Jiren is better on mid is because he has to advance. He has to advance. Now, Jiren's toolkit is broken. Like, this is an amazing stagger button, and he's probably one of the best pressure characters in the game, to be honest. Like, his pressure is insane. Like, his pressure is so fucking dumb. Like, however, What makes his pressure dumb is this. Who the fuck is gonna mash here if they know about Jiren? And I'll tell you who. A desperate man. And how do you make him desperate? Like this. Now that your opponent has won the point war, done insane damage, now his pressure becomes scary. Yeah, but the thing is, they're letting me reset for free, Geo. Which means my pressure can continue indefinitely, and I will eventually open you up. And I can also do this. So, this character, very powerful when he has a life lead. When he has a life lead, he's quite possibly one of the stronger characters in the game. He's a low-key top tier. But he's not a point. Also, why would you put him on point? Because his assist, kind of fucking ridiculous. Look at that. That's great. And then on top of having excellent excellent DHC damage. Is hit a good point? No. He requires bar to function. Hit is best played mid. Have I seen Coach Steve play? Yeah, I have. Why? But Jiren, really fucking dumb. On point, he's not bad, but he's a lot less threatening. And I'm a lot less likely to mash. I'm not taking the risk. Is baby a good point? I think I saw someone say that. No. Baby's actually a pretty terrible point, to be completely honest. But he is an excellent mid. Jiren's toolkit comes alive when the character on the opposite team is dead. When he has a bar, because he can build more of it, and he has access to his reversals up front, and more without having to touch them. Cooler is really bad at the point where don't play Cooler on point. Cooler has very little that moves forward without a massive commitment except 3H. His dive kick is 2Hable. Baby's zoning is so crazy. Sure, but zoning only becomes a real threat in the mid game. Otherwise, it's not that big of a threat. Baby has the kit of an anchor. I guess, sure. I don't think it's really good to think of things that reductively. The thing that separates a mid and the point is the ability to develop other characters. And Baby develops other characters extremely well, and other characters really help out his weak areas as well. Having a more complete toolkit doesn't really matter, because you could still have a complete toolkit and still be a functional point. You just have to develop the rest of your team. An anchor is not a character that develops. An anchor is a character that gets developed. So think 21, think Z Broly, characters like that, where if they have bar and they have if they have bar, if they have resources, if they have spark, they become infinitely more threatening. But other than that, I think it's reductive to just say Baby has the toolkit of an anchor, because honestly, it doesn't really mean much. Like, Krillin has the toolkit of an anchor, and I still don't think Krillin's neutral is very good. And I don't think Krillin is very good either as a character, even though I think there are a lot of things about him that are strong. Yes and no. Baby is a little bit easy to disrespect. Well, let me not say easy. Let me say vulnerable. He's very vulnerable to disrespect. His zoning is good, but he's very easy to disrespect. He loses to a lot of mechanics. The problem is that your opponent needs to have impeccable timing to call it out. And if they're wrong, they can die. So it's kind of a risk. It's what makes fighting Baby a little bit interesting. Because if you disrespect, you win. You have to disrespect him. But are you good enough to disrespect him? That's the mind game. And sometimes you lose. What do you do with Zamasu if you had to use him? Develop him. If I had to use Zamasu would absolutely be mid. I would not put him anywhere near the point. However, I do think that if he gets in on his terms, he is incredibly strong, even now. He's just not worth it. And the reason why I don't think it's worth it is because he needs help in literally every single element of the game. He needs help in pressure because he can't set up orbs by himself. He can't even condition to set up orbs by himself. He can't even condition to set up orbs by himself. He doesn't advance forward very well. His lariats kind of suck. His flight mechanic is only useful if he has a life lead, or if he's trying to wait out Spark, and a lot of characters can invalidate it nowadays, especially if we're running an assist like Baby B. He's incredibly needy, but he doesn't offer a lot in return. That's why he's not very good. Alright, guys, last question, and then we move on to VODs. I would 100% play Zamasu if Zamasu was good. Zamasu is one of my favorite characters in the show. Like, I don't play the characters that I love except Kefla and Beerus. And Beerus is new. Like, if they're not good, I'm not playing them. But as far as characters that I absolutely love, Zamasu. Top 5 characters as an anchor, I don't think it matters, to be honest. Because I think as long as you have a good team, it doesn't matter. For example, Kaiden's team plays 18 on anchor. 18, the character with the worst neutral. How far has Yamcha fallen off? Oh, man. Very, very, very far. If you're curious on my thoughts, go check out Gila's tweets. I think he released a tweet about how bad Yamcha is right now. I think it would change quite a bit. Yeah. Kaiden, one of the best players in the world, does use 18 as an anchor. And the reason why is because, like I mentioned, people think of an anchor, like, very reductively, in my opinion. People think of point, mid, anchor. Your point dies first, then your mid dies next, and then your anchor needs to be able to carry the show. You're already formulating a game plan to lose. Every character, and I mean every character, including Z Broly, is better with assists. You should be rotating your team heavily. You should bring out your third character while the other two characters are still alive. And, most importantly, your team shouldn't... A good rule of thumb, your team should not die in the order you start the game in. If you can help it. You don't want any individual character in your team to die. That is incredibly bad, because the moment a character dies, your team structure becomes a bit destabilized. Even if it's still sound, it's nowhere near as strong or as threatening as it was. Even my team, which I think Bluku and Kefla are a complete closed shell, I think they can function by themselves together. not having Beerus or a good third does affect the dynamic of the team, and it does affect how much damage I'm able to do. And I feel it the most when I have to DHC. Any opinion on Android 17? I hate people who main him. I think if you main Android 17, you need to learn how to play the game. Because, not because he's bad, but because he's like the ultimate mathematician character, where you see people are like, what if I do this crazy mix-up with his Rekka and his Axel Drive and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, dog, just keep it fucking simple. You don't need to go all out. Like, honestly, the shit that he does is so extra, but it's fun. It's fun. But fuck 17 mains. But he's fun. As a character, I think he's pretty good. I think he's got some weaknesses, but he definitely needs some work. Like, I think his normals are a serious problem. His DHC is cool and good, but his DHC level 3 damage is kind of weak sauce. Kinda. I don't think he's as valuable to a team aside from being a battery, but at that point just fucking play Team Gohan because Team Gohan shits damage. So, it's cool. He does have good damage, he does have excellent mix-ups, and I think he's got an amazing assist. But, you know, he's right in the middle of the road. Not terrible, not great, just pretty good. I don't think you're going to go wrong playing 17. But if you're a 17 main, however, listen, play the game. Just do 2L, 5L. It will open up Goichi. You don't need to do all these crazy Axel Driver stuff. I don't care how cursed you think it is. Goichi will block it, and I know this because Goichi has blocked it from the best 17 player in the world. It doesn't fucking matter. Just pressure like a normal human being. Please. For the love of God. It ain't that deep. Just fucking 2L, 5L. Please, dog. What do you think of SSJ Goku? It's fun to do so if you know how to play the game. But I'm convinced none of you know how to play the game. That's my problem. It's the same problem I see with Blue Vegeta mains. It's the same problem that I see with, I mean, pardon the derogatory term, but Star and I, we call them snowflake characters. These are characters that are off meta, but people swear are really, really, really strong. So they lab out all of these intricate setups when, honestly, the simple stuff probably works just as well. And they don't play the character because it's fun. It comes with this badge of, oh, I'm playing a good character. That's not you, like Goku. Like, you're not special. Just play the game. Like, if you play 17 for fun, cool. That's awesome. If you think 17 is cool and you like doing this thing, is that a bad thing? Yes. Because, well, it's not a bad thing. It's more annoying to me. If you are trying to get into high level, it is a bad thing. Because it means that you're relying heavily on a gimmick. And then once that gimmick expires, you have no fundamentals to rely on, which means you're going to die. You're not going to perform well. Which doesn't represent your character. You know? Like, Videl, for example, is a snowflake character, but you don't see Star, like, constantly talking about Videl and how crazy she is, blah, 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 blah. Like, no one cares. Literally no one cares. Goku Black main's holding down the fundamentals. Yes, if you play Goku Black, you're good. Does he, though? Let's see. Two L5L are exactly what I'm about to press, bro. Okay. Oh my god. Yeah, except no. No. $17 mains, I told you. I ain't gonna hold you. That's decent. It's about the same range as 18s, but a frame faster, which is nice, I guess. Okay, he's got a 4L, which is nice. Oh, that's cool. -6. Cool. Pretty decent. That looks like it's good, but that hitbox doesn't feel very strong. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah. Probably hits cross up though, right? Yeah, okay, cool. I don't have a small character. Fuck. Okay, it's not bad. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Kind of cursed, but cool. So, this is a weird ass hitbox, bro. Yep, reset. Cool. Can I stagger this? That's cool. Oh, man. Not bad. A bit slow. But not a bad advancing normal. That's cool. Very similar to Bardock. A bit slow, though. Yeah. 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 Yep. Yeah. I mean, he's not bad, like I said. But he's got some weaknesses. His neutral's a bit slow. This is dumb. What was it, 3H? Yeah. 3H is fine. 14 frames for that distance. It's about like Kefla Lariat, basically. It's a sliding low. Cool. Solo confirm off of it. It's neat. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. Okay, I'm glad. 5M brings him back in, which I like. Yeah, you see, that jab is a problem. I can see why this is good. It's because it fucking has to be. But not great. Yeah, you know what else is great for disengagements? This. And it gives you better control. That jab. That jab is a serious problem. And I know this because I played Beerus. I know how bad of an issue that short range can be. I have lost many games because of it. The range on this is not great. This is probably his only good button, and I like that. You see, this is the problem, right? Is that if I space him out, I can space myself out so easily. That's cool. But if I'm not careful and I want to reset, I whiff. So this pressure overall is not very good. Yeah, like, I never know when my jab is going to hit and when it doesn't. Because his hitboxes and his normals are so inconsistent that his ability to do normal pressure is just not effective. Meanwhile, with Bardock, I can just loop this forever without ever having to dash reset if I don't want to. which gives me greater control over my tempo. And lets me set up fun stuff like this. Like Bardock, for example, just is so much smoother. And of course, you know, the big draw of this pressure, I'm sure, is this, you know, quick overhead. However you do his fast fall, this is fairly decent. Good fake cross up, basically. Also good fake cross up. A bit slow, but someone will get hit by that. But oh, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, I'm sure you could probably find some dumb curse mix-ups with this, but yeah, I know. I was messing with that earlier. Which is neat. I like it. But again, it's the toolkit of a mid. Because at the end of the day, like that will definitely hit someone, for sure. And it's all fine and dandy, but I'm telling you, the reason you're not going to see him in a lot of really high-level play is because of this. This and this and this are kind of a problem. Like, they could keep the range as long as he advances. Just even a little bit would be a big help. Because right now, this is not very strong or effective, to be honest. Yeah. He's very solid, very middle of the road, has a lot of really dumb shit, but also a lot of weak shit. So that would be my assessment of 17. As for whether or not he can play the point war, he can, but I think he's better off finding a stronger point, in my opinion, and somebody that he can actually support and trade out so that way he can protect their blue life, and you know, he can pick up the slack if that point is weak or not covering it. I think that would be a really, really wise decision. But that's how I would G-mill for him. But yeah. There you go, guys. Now it's time. Let's see, does the stream tech work? Yes, it does! Sick! Except it's not set up. That is pain. Funny thing is, I could have sworn I set this up too. Let's see, browser source. I having to do this every single time. Nah, I'll just share my window. Dokkan stream. I don't play Dokkan. And let's just do this. Could have sworn this was set up already, but I forgot that I actually closed that OBS, and this thing doesn't like to reset. I have... What the hell? Oh, that's weird. Whoops. Grabbed the wrong thing, I guess. There we go. About right here is fine. All right. Anyway, now is the point of the stream where we begin looking at team structure. So I actually have 4 matches that I want to take a look at. And I think these matches are really, really instructive on the flow of the point war and how to utilize the point while also being instructive on how the entire team can fall apart if the point doesn't finish its development. Now, pop quiz.
It's the Gogeta team. We've seen this team a couple of.
Pop quiz. Let's take a look at this before we begin. What do you think, chat, is the point of Wawa's team? What do you think the goal is? You have Gogeta A Gohan C, GTB. Enable Gohan. Correct. How would they do that? You're correct. Good shit, Weiss. You are correct. Both of you are correct. So right here, they're going to play the point war. Notice how patient he is. This is the way Gogeta needs to optimally play with this team. These assists are very valuable because GTB doesn't reach very far and he needs that to confirm. Or he needs that to extend. And A Gohan, right here, is a C assist, which means if it gets spent, Gogeta spends a long time vulnerable. So Gogeta needs to play really defensively right off the bat. As you can see, Wawa playing it defensively, dashes forward, kind of hedging his bets, times the grab right to Kaiden's landing to get his offense started. However, Kaiden's going to say none of that. No. So once again, UI Goku gets a very, very strong lead in development, but doesn't manage to pin down this Gogeta. That's going to be a blunder on Kaiden's end. Spends 18 to protect himself. Kefla's on the mend. Super dashes. That was a great tech on Wall. That was a great tech on Kaiden's part. That was actually kind of sick. All right, so he's going to jail them down. Pressure, pressure. And Wawa sparks. So now sparking's on. And Kaiden, this is very instructive. You guys need to pay attention to your opponents when they do this. This is very, very important. He spent his double jump to super jump back and then float forward. There's only one place he can land. Unfortunately, that's right in front of Gogeta. So he walks back to him. And that is going to be a wrap on the point war. So he spends Spark and both of his assists. A Gohan's back. But now Gogeta manages to get the early lead in development, builds 5 bars, deletes this UI Goku, which is the problem character on this team. I mean, all 3 of these characters are a problem, but UI is UI. Level 1, level 2. And most importantly, he brings up a leveled up A Gohan. So now in this position, this team is monstrous. He doesn't have Spark anymore, but Gogeta has only lost about 70% of his health. And A Gohan has a full screen assist and a pressure assist right behind him, in addition to being leveled up, coupled with Wawa's excellent movement. So we have now transitioned from the point war to the mid-game. We will talk about the mid-game in another masterclass because there's kind of, you navigate this position in a very different way. But Kaiden only has Kefla now, and 4 bars, which is a lot to do damage. Kefla is pretty enabled and she's self-sufficient. This match is far from over, but Kaiden is right now is on his back foot reeling, and this can easily slide against him in his favor. He has to be very, very careful because he has to have a mixture of aggression. He needs to approach A Gohan. However, he can't really do that. You know, he can't really do that because A Gohan's hard to approach. He's got legs. His entire toolkit benefits from an aggressive opponent. He has to be aggressive, but he also has to be very careful, which is not a comfortable position to be in. So as you see, right off the bat, he starts very defensively, avoiding his 5H, but he basically gets hit by 5S. And because he has Gogeta, Gogeta is a free confirm. So right off the bat, he spends both assists to put Kefla and sliding knockdown in the corner. That's okay, because he doesn't need assist for Oki. He's A Gohan. Yup. A Gohan pressure. Yup. gets eaten, he eats a 2M, Kaiden blunders, and that's a dead Kefla. Kefla did absolutely nothing in this match but die. That is a tough position to be in. Now Kaiden is in the worst position you could possibly put your opponent in. Solo 18. Kaiden is immediately defensive. Trying to use EX17 to equalize the game. Grabs into level 3. Very good strat. Very good strat. Beautiful. Guesses correctly and immediately escapes pressure. And then raw tags A Gohan out to preserve his assist. He's a beam assist. Gogeta's going to come in. As A Gohan returns, Gogeta has a beam again. This team right now is very structurally sound. And on top of that, puts 18 in a level 3 situation. Now, Gogeta doesn't get a lot here, but Gogeta can be tricky even if it's fake. Like that. Good spark. Baits the spark out. Great defense, but he's not going to react to that grab and gets put into another level 3 situation. This position, Kaiden's fighting hard. It's not a super easy match for Wawa, but Wawa can still do this. Blocks, excellent. Yeah, there we go. Takes his turn back. Extends. These combos last a long time, so they're just eating into her sparking timer right now. Level 1, level 1. Yeah, this setup gets him level 2. Cursed, but that was a good tech from Kaiden. And guard cancel gets blocked. So right there, you saw how crucial it is to keep all 3 characters alive on your team. Like, yeah, A Gohan is the quote-unquote anchor, but it doesn't matter. The goal is to get him the optimal conditions to play, and that happens to be with bar, assists, and level up. Gogeta provided that for him. That is very good synergy. That is excellent. Great damage all around, and whatnot. And that game was navigated beautifully by Wawa. You just saw an example of not just how good Wawa is, but how good Wawa's team is, which is fantastic. However,
this one up, that team is.
However, there is a weakness. And this is why navigating the point war is important, and why one of the things I'm teaching in the point war is strategy. So, can he do it again? Wawa is going to IAD back into Kefla's assist, which has enough hit stun to let UI run up and convert. So, we're going to get put into a combo. That's fine. Wawa's going to get put into another combo. That's not good. If he had another assist here, he could have killed. Actually, he might have been able to kill with Vanish level 2, but who knows? Nasty. So what happened here? Wawa's moon jumping. Boom, boom, boom. Kaiden dashes up, blocks. He thinks that a DR is coming, but instead, Wawa just jumps, calls the assist, and tries to tech the assist. And UI runs up and converts. A very high-level mix-up from Kaiden. Kaiden, right now, is abusing the fact that he can do whatever he wants. So he's actually trying to bait Wawa's team to come forward. This team now has problems. GT's in, but GT has a C beam, which is not really great for his neutral. He only has 2 bars. He has Spark, which could be the deciding factor right now. But this team is struggling right now. This team is having the worst time in neutral because the person to develop it is dead. The only advantage that GT holds right now is the fact that GT now does 1859, which is a fuck ton of damage on his level 3 and gets a mix. But this is not an easy situation. And as you can see, he's playing very defensively because he can't really challenge anything UI Goku's doing. Any approach is death. Look at this. So he just dash blocks, and already this fucking foot is in his head. And Kaiden doesn't really need to engage. He ends his turn trying to play in neutral. That was a good, no conversion, but that was a good attempt. But you see, boom, boom. Kaiden being very evasive right now. However, he's going to blunder and vanish into the beam. Classic mistake. That's going to give Wawa the conversion. Wawa can probably do something of this if he does something cursed on block in the next turn. Yeah, there we go. You level up a Gohan, which is cool, but now a Gohan does not have a neutral assist. And a Gohan really needs a fucking neutral assist, but this is okay because he's back in his strongest position. So as long as he doesn't have to return to neutral, he can maintain pressure on Kaiden's team and maybe close the gap. But he is playing... He's not playing with a full deck right now, and Kaiden is. And every mistake is going to be a serious problem for Wawa. All of this pressure on Wawa's side, literally just because Gogeta died. Yup. Level 3. This is the worst possible position for a Gohan, because now it forces him to consider using Spark. If I were Wawa, I would Spark. As soon as I can. Wawa raw tags in, out. That's fine. That's a valid answer. Kara cancel 5H. Or Kara cancel 5S. Very good. Now this is a strong position. GT Goku can close this, because this does so much damage. And if he gets a touch in the next mix, 18's dead. No, she's not really dead. She's not really dead, but she can... She's not in a great position. Blocks. Yeah, GT Goku not really a threat on block. And what a beautiful escape. Creates a blunder by hitting the assist. Kaiden immediately takes advantage. Raw tags the bleeding 18 out. Brings in the healthy Kefla into a confirm. And puts him in the corner. Into level 3. Excellent use of bar. Forcing this GT. Really trying to force out the spark on GT. Wawa, right now, the only reason why Wawa is managing in this position is because he has excellent fucking defense. That's why I tell you, you need to have good defense in this game, because that is how you navigate the mid game when you're in Wallach's position. If you can block, you have a chance. Wawa getting hit by the same mix. Super jump into UIA. And now you guys see why 6H is a threat. We've gone 2 matches without seeing a single 6H. He's not ready for it. He gets bonked trying to mash. Probably he bonks trying to tech the DR because 6H has a similar timing to it. I noticed. This is the worst position to be in as Wawa. He has Spark, but this is so little health that Spark might not save him with these supers, especially because these supers delete Spark, especially Kefla's. And on top of that, he has 6 bars, but he has nothing to do because he has no proper neutral tools here to navigate this line zone. He has excellent movements, but look at how he has to move while Kefla could just raw 5M and he has to hold it. Look at the difference in mobility between these two characters. And horrifically, Kaiden does something amazing. He uses his excellent neutral to keep Gohan out, constantly threatening him from a distance. Constantly threatening him from a distance. Always threatening a mix and using his superior evasive mobility to basically time out a Gohan. A Gohan cannot afford to do nothing. He has to move forward, but he can't. This character is pinned and trapped under his own weakness. And Wawa, as godlike of a player as he is, cannot close this gap. Wawa sparks, tries to take his turn. But again, superior evasive movement. Right here, sparks, down tech, jump, JS. Because he knew Wawa would be too eager. Now you might be wondering, wow, how could he do such a sick read? It's not a read. It is his only move. It is literally the only thing he could do. Wawa cannot afford to keep distance. He just spent Spark. His time and Spark is limited. He's not gonna let Kaiden run away. And he dashed forward. There is no way he's just gonna dash block. He has no assist to cover this. He's not gonna do something dumb like run up level 3. So she just jumps out of the way. And the perfect thing about this is that he attacks with his fastest button, 5L. But 5L is a low, which means it doesn't catch jump because the hit doesn't come out. The second hit doesn't come out until frame 14, long after they left the ground. This was a trap. There is nothing Wawa could have done here. He probably could have IDJM'd, but that could have gotten 2H'd. That could have gotten reflected into Lariat, and then Kefla would be back in the same situation, and this time he doesn't have Spark to escape. Are you guys seeing the strategy? Are you guys seeing how important team structure and strategy is in this game? Because Kaiden just dismantled Wawa's entire team by killing the point before the team developed. That is how important the point war is. Because now you get Oki with assists. Very smart on Kaiden's end. Super jump for the meaty, but calls UIA an empty jump so that way he can bait the DP. Wawa using his superior defense to try to escape the situation, but constantly putting himself in a situation where he can't do anything. And once again, we see the same situation. He cannot afford to do nothing. There's nothing he can do here. He's trapped. He can't do anything. He dashes forward, gets ready for the cross-up, eats the fake super dash because he pressed something. Probably tried to 2H, but 2H too late. And then Kaiden is going to basically dismantle Wawa. This was a dismantling of Wawa. By taking advantage of his team and by not giving him an opportunity to get his offense started. Constantly forcing Wawa to play defense. That is one of the advantages of Kaiden. And that is how good at the game Kaiden is. I hope you guys find that as cool as I do. We're going to watch a couple matches from another, this time Unwanted. The links should be out in a second. I don't know if Nightbot has been doing its job. Let me refresh and make sure. Yeah, link should be enabled. But yeah, I hope you guys find this as fascinating as I do, because this is one of the reasons why I love watching high-level Dragon Ball and why I love teaching it. Is because I feel like this game is so much deeper than people give it credit for. So, right off the bat, Kane, having a deficit, decides to play My Shell, but with Trunks. Now you're going to see how he navigates the point war with Bluku at high level. So right off the bat, we have an aggressive round start with Kefla barrier. Good dash block. Good 6M. Good tech on the DR. So right here, air dash back. She dashes forward. She's not ready for him to teleport here. Boom. Good Oki. By the way, Team Gohan is not able to do this very well. And that's a problem. Like, if this was Team Gohan, she probably would have escaped. Boom, boom. Boom. Yup. Extend. COVID friendly. No loops, but that's okay. There we go. That's mean. That's fucked. So right now, Goku essentially wins the point where by winning neutral once, he has both assists because he's self-sufficient in neutral, which means he can extend this as far as he needs to. Spends half a bar, but he has 2 bars in the tank. That's okay. Next hit will build enough bar for level 1. He does enough damage that this will probably kill no matter what. Yup. He even does the COVID-friendly version. Yep, 1-1. That's enough. And right there, you just witnessed the end of the point war. His team is finished developing. Kefla's now out. She can continue to develop for Trunks if she needs to. But honestly, this is what I mean by it's a complete shell. They both build a lot for each other. They spend a lot for each other. They have great two-way synergy. Either one of them can be on point. Goku is slightly stronger in the front because he has much, much better pressure. And he's a little bit more momentous. But right here, you're actually seeing the true power of this team at work. I love my fucking team. So right here, very, very, very strong. Very strong opportunities on both ends. However, Kaiden on the defensive, he no longer has the life lead, so 18's neutral is now kind of gimped. And so is Cooler's to an extent because they both rely on a bait and punish style. You can't really bait when your opponent has 3 sticks of celery and you just died. So Kaiden kind of has a tall order ahead of him. Kefla, using her superior space control to cut off the ground and then use beam to essentially convert it. Kefla pressure. That was really good on Kaiden's end. Kaiden is really good at knowing when he can call out barrier, which is really, really fun. Very smart move. When you're in this position and you have bar, it is better to level 3 into your character because they more or less are developed. She doesn't have bar to really take advantage of it, but that's okay. Kaiden could have come back, but Kane denies the comeback and development for 18 by having excellent defense. What a great pin. What a great pin. Already the synergy. Boom. Vanish for the jail. Boom. 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 Great pin. And great synergy by Kaiden. And of course, dash DR. Really difficult to tech. And once again, 3 bars into Blue Goku level 3. Very smart. Gets a bleeding Kefla out. Brings Blue Goku back in. Strong two-way support. Gets a little bit of blue health back. And more importantly, 50-50. Good raw tag. I would have just gone for the 50-50. But I guess Kane didn't believe in it. That was not supposed to be an elbow. I'm pretty sure that was a dive kick plus assist. But Cooler crossed under. Ooh, good walkout. Yep. Maintaining the pressure here. Goku doing a little bit of Goku doing a little bit of sauce right here. And then we go into Kefla level 3. This team seems to always have 3 bars. It's crazy. Once again, very similar situation. Barrier is going to deny Kefla her Oki. And Cooler probably going to get 18 out of... Yeah, see? Yes. The importance of Anti-Reflect. That would have been a great time to have an Anti-Reflect. Great double dash and then comes back in with the 5M, but unfortunately doesn't manage to capitalize under pressure. Sparks, probably a good spark, but it's going to get hit by the EX Super Dash. Raw tag. Very, very nice. Very, very nice. This is going to be big damage. Not quite enough bar to close out 18. Great defense. Yep, the dive kick will be enough to close out 18. Tricky neutral. Spends bar, but that's okay. This character can develop some. Kaiden running through his bar with guard cancel, baits the reflect, and then gets hit into Spark. That would have been death, but unfortunately, Kane is Kane. He drops. Unfortunate. Very good escape and pick up into empty vanish. That's really, really smart. But again, drops. Critical moment. Critical moment. Critical moment. Yeah, this Buku's dead. This should not have happened. Oh, wow. They both drop. What a blunder. What a blunder on both ends. That was a very messy endgame. However, you guys saw how strong this team is in the fucking point war. This team is broken in the point war. The only disadvantage, in my opinion, is the fact that it is online. And this team's not very COVID friendly. Once again, we'll take a look. This will be the last match of the night. Mean! Mean! Wonderful snipe. Even if it missed, he's protected by Trunks. But it's going to catch him, jail him into beam. He can't reflect out of it. DR calls a second assist to hide the DR. It doesn't matter. Bluku wins. Bluku gets the first touch on the point war and gets a lead in development. Once again, good Oki. Boom! That scales like a light, I believe, but it does a fuck ton of base damage. That does not look like light damage, to be honest. Certainly, and are you dead ass? Excellent use of Sparking Kefla. Pulls him into the corner. 50-50, but he doesn't quite land it. 6H again. Once again, catches the walkout in the corner with JS. Very, very strong for sniping. Puts him in the other corner. Very smart decision to dive kick out. But Kefla's going to win the air-to-airs, which right here is the important of not only having great mobility, but having great air normals. Boom. That is Kefla privilege right there. And that is one of the reasons why it's okay that she doesn't have an air lariat like most points. Because her JM will do a lot of the work. And of course, counter hit. That is a dead cooler. Assuming Kane doesn't drop. He doesn't drop. Oof. Very nice. Tech out into air dash JH. Very, very fantastic spatial awareness from Kaiden. Yep, and now we're going to put this Kefla on a level... Oh, no. He wants to two-touch Kefla and bait the raw tag. That's okay. Air to airs, that's going to put Kefla to bed. That is going to put Kefla to bed. Boom. Bye-bye. Johnny. Bye. So, Kaiden making this comeback. Kane, however, still in a great position. Never mind. Nah, never mind. So, this is actually a really big blunder on Kaiden's end. See, right here. Right here. JS into level 3. JS into level 3. Oh, he doesn't have the 3 bars. My bad, I was looking at the wrong bar. Pain. That is actual pain. Unfortunate. But she does have Spark, and she should have confirmed into Spark. Would have given her sparking. Would have given her the extra bar and meter that she needed for an extra mix-up. She can essentially go into level 3 and probably kill Trunks here. Trunks dies, and then Blue Goku is in a level 3 situation where he has to guess for the character and is potentially facing another level 3. Right here, you just witnessed a game drop. Yep. Big game drop. Big game drop. That would have been the game. That would have been the fucking game. Oh my god, that would have been the fucking game. Oh my god. Oh god, can I see some baguettes in the chat, please? I forgot how painful this was. Oh no. Oh, can I please? This is a bakery. This is a bake sale, please. No. Oh my god. Oh, baguette. Oh, pain. Oh, it was actually painful. Oh my god. Oh my god, I'm mad. Oh my god. But yeah, this team, very strong in the point war, as you guys witnessed. Do you guys see now how good it is to actually understand the point war and navigate your points? That's going to be your homework. I want you guys to actually go into the lab your teams, lab your characters, pay attention to who wins the point war, who enables who on your teams. I want to see some smart teams coming in the ring match evaluations. By the way, guys, thank you so much for joining me. I'll give you guys an extra 5 minutes. Do you guys have any questions that you would like any answer? Do you have any questions that you want answered about the matches that we just watched? Any particular situations that you want to know more about? Go ahead and drop some questions. I'll be more than happy to answer them in the next few minutes. Keep in mind that this week I'm going to drop the stream schedule tomorrow. I do have a lighter week at work, so we're going to actually have some fun. Tomorrow we're going to have our first ever ring match edition ring match evaluations violent edition, where I am going to let you play teams and try to bully each other. It's a nice relaxed thing. I'm not going to be evaluating you guys too seriously unless I see some issues that you guys need to work on, but I want to see some mashing. I want to see you guys let out some steam. I want to see you guys pull out your Z-Brolies, your hits. I want you guys to go crazy and have fun. Tomorrow we're playing DBFZ Cursed Edition. I think that'll be really fun. Keep an eye out this week. Follow me on Twitter for updates and whatnot. If you guys don't already, I will announce anything on... Yep, exactly. I will announce everything on stream. I'm sorry, I will announce everything on Twitter, so definitely keep an eye out for Twitter updates. This week, we are going to do PS4 ring match evaluations for the first time. We're going to try our best, but if you guys are on PS4 and you're up at this time, you're more than welcome to join. I have an Angel trainee that will likely volunteer. It'll be a lot of fun. We'll see how it goes. And if it is successful, guys, consider donating. The money that is donated will actually go to... the money that is donated will actually probably go to... buying a capture card. So that way I can go ahead and start streaming on PS4 more consistently, and we can make PS4 evaluations a permanent stay in our rotation. Also, keep in mind that we have some new stuff going on this week, which is going to be really, really fun. For example, we're going to have tournament runbacks, which is going to be super fun, where the Angel trainees are allowed to challenge each other. So find out who's going to win or who's going to participate in a 1-7. Keep an eye out for Twitter. It's going to be really, really exciting. But yeah, do you guys have any questions that you would like to know? Or any questions that you would like answered before we wrap up? Oh. All right, guys. Anyone else? Everyone else good? All right, everyone's good. Thank you so much for joining me. All of my new subscribers, please expect a link if you haven't received it already to be invited into the Whis Training Ground server. Like I said, you guys are welcome to come here, and you guys are welcome to essentially hang out with us, ask us anything, and get some advice on playing some high-level players. Thank you so much for joining us. I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Peace, y'all.